So is there a difference between being arrogant or confident? Are these two the same, or are they mutually exclusive? In my own life, I've been accused, well, let me not say accused, but sometimes I come off as being somewhat cocky or arrogant, whereas in my mind, I'm thinking that I'm just expressing my own confidence. Now, there's a fine line between being confident and arrogant, and I will be the first to admit that it's very easy to cross over into the arrogant side and completely lose sight of what it is that a confident person really should be behaving like. I want to explore a couple of these things and look at the similarities and the differences between being arrogant and being cocky or confident, and where can we check ourselves so that we don't go off rubbing people the wrong way. My name is Monesi, and you're watching Get Yours. Now, confident people you can spot them a mile away. They're very positive and optimistic simply because they really have a strong sense of self-belief, self-awareness. They are comfortable in their own skin. They know who they are, and are not afraid to express themselves. However, when you're too confident, sometimes you can cross the line into arrogance, and I've always tried to temper that relationship between being overconfident and being arrogant. And what are some of the things to identify when you're looking at these two elements? I want to explore a couple of these in the next few minutes. Now, before I get into some of the points that distinguish between being confident and arrogant, I'm always reminded of my own experiences when I do trainings or give talks, or even in some of my Get Yours videos, where sometimes you come off with having a point of view that is superior than other people. You come off as lecturing or preaching your point of view to other people, and it's always important to realize that this is something that confident people have to be aware of. If you consider yourself a confident person, be very careful not to cross that line to the point where you are lecturing or preaching or talking down at people and coming off as patronizing or condescending. I struggle with this, and sometimes after the fact I have to come back and actually apologize and say, you know what, I actually did not mean to come off in that way. So what are some of the points that you can look at and distinguish between being confident and arrogant? Number one for me is arrogant people tend to have this superiority complex, and their point of view is the only point of view that matters. They're not willing to budge when it comes to their way. It's their way or the highway. Whereas confident people accept that their way is good, and they're very confident in their views, but allow other people space to express themselves as well. This leads me to the second point, where confident people will listen to others and respect other people's point of view. And arrogant people tend to block off anybody else who wants or has an opinion or has something to say with regards to a particular subject matter. All right? So you need to always ask yourself, are you the kind of person who, when you come into a room, people find it difficult to communicate with you because it's difficult for you to be objective, it's difficult for you to let other people express themselves? And do you listen? Do you allow people to say what they have to say and actually participate in it because you are confident in yourself? The third thing for me when it comes to the difference between confident and arrogant people is confident people are not afraid to show vulnerability. Confident people are comfortable in their own skin. It's very difficult to bring a confident person down because they know that they have certain weaknesses that they have to constantly work to improve, whereas arrogant people will either not accept their weaknesses or brush them aside altogether. And so they're not even willing to improve or develop, because if you accuse an arrogant person of having a weakness, they immediately activate their self-defense mechanism and push back, and sometimes can even get into an argument or even fight you because they cannot admit that they have certain weaknesses. So you want to always let people know that, you know what, I am a human being. I am susceptible to weaknesses just like everybody else, but I am working to improve myself. All right, and a big part of this is you'll see that people who are confident, besides admitting their mistakes, it's not that they're trying to bring themselves down or make themselves look like they're less of who they are. No, what they're comfortable doing is accepting that they have certain shortcomings and are willing to work to improve those shortcomings. The fourth point for me is that arrogant people gather or create their happiness as a result of their environment and bringing other people down. Right? They're not really willing to accept the gifts that other people have, and it comes off as being envious and jealous. And we've discussed this in one of the other videos, where jealousy is really one of those things that does not get you very far and is actually an impediment to your success. And you'll find that most arrogant people look at themselves and are always comparing themselves relative to others, and are always trying to show that their gifts, their skills, their talents are better than other people's gifts and skills and talents. Whereas confident people are quite willing and happy to acknowledge other people's gifts. They're quite willing to celebrate other people's achievements and accomplishments because they're comfortable with their own. You know, they're not, they let their accomplishments speak for themselves and are not trying to validate themselves and create happiness by bringing other people down. You'll find that the most confident people will always be the ones cheering on their friends and their colleagues and the people that are around them, whereas arrogant people will tend to look at other people's achievements and say, oh, well, you know, they didn't really deserve it, or they'll always make a snide comment or a remark that will seem to try and bring that other person down, simply because they derive their happiness and their sense of worth from the bringing other people down, whereas confident people will always be comfortable in themselves and their own talents and abilities. All right. Now, there are many other similarities and differences between being arrogant and confident, but my challenge to you is to try and always realize that when you feel that when you look in the mirror and you believe in yourself and you're hyping yourself, and this is something that I encourage many of us to do, be your own hype man, you know, have your own internal cheerleading squad, stand tall, be confident, carry yourself with pride. Positive and optimistic people go further, but there is a fine line between being confident and being arrogant, and it's important that you check yourself before you cross over that line and start upsetting people around you. As always, it's a pleasure listening and interacting with you guys. Keep sharing, keep commenting, subscribe for those of you who haven't subscribed. It's 2018. I'm very happy to keep talking about things that affect us in our daily lives. This is all about success, and really, all I want you to do is get yours.